If you guys follow me on Miami Vice Life, you've probably seen in the last several weeks, I released something on my stories called the 3 pillars. And what the 3 pillars are 3 things that I did that were game changers in my life so I could accomplish the things that I set out to do. So today I'm going to go through those 3 pillars for you. And if you implement these 3 things, you will see massive changes in your own life. So let's get into those things. The first one is you need to be able to see yourself from a third person perspective. What does this mean? Well, frankly, you need to be able to step outside of yourself, turn around and look at yourself and ask the question, what kind of experience is that dude giving off? Because if you can get away from your ego, if you can stand outside and experience yourself as if you were a stranger, you'll get to see so much more information about yourself. You learn to not take things personally. So if you feel that there's something that you would just keep slipping up on, or you fumble the football in certain categories of your life, be able to step outside, look at yourself, and take it as strictly information and not take it personally. This is absolutely essential in order to figure out what you need to do differently if you're stuck on something in your life. If you can't stand outside of yourself and look back and ask that question and not take it personally, it's going to be very difficult to actually implement change and to be open to change. A lot of men think that they're in the right all the time, and they're not willing to say, hey, you know what? This part of my life needs to be switched up a bit. But if you can, this can often act as an unfair advantage over other men who simply are not willing to look at themselves from that outside perspective. So the first pillar is being able to step outside of yourself and look and ask the question, what is the experience that this guy gives off, and what could he do differently to get what he really wants? Look at yourself from that perspective sometime and ask yourself that question. It's very, very powerful. The second pillar is to focus on change. What does this mean? Well, it means that you need to implement actual differences from what you were doing before that got you stuck into new behaviors that will take you where you want to go. Because a lot of times you can read things on the internet, you can get inspired, and then it ends there, it dies there. If you don't take what you learn, when you step outside of yourself and see what you're doing, and if you don't implement things that will actually take you to a new spot, well, that's not implementing change. That's simply sort of a self-masturbation, if you will. You look at yourself and you think all these things that you should be doing, but if you don't do it, well, nothing's going to change, right? You must change in order to get that change. So focus on the things that you need to do differently that will get you what you want to do. Now, you might not know what those things are right away, and this is what requires trying different things. If you step outside of yourself and you look at yourself and say, hey, you know what? When it comes to interacting with people, I'm not that fun to be around. Try something different. And if that doesn't work, look at it again and try something else. It's a game of tweaking, of trying, tweaking, and refining. You might not get it on your first step out of the gates. This is a process. It's not an instant fix. But if you focus on changing things and are flexible and adaptable to new ways of doing things, then you'll start to see differences in the results that you get in your life. All right, so the third pillar is do less. A lot of you guys think you believe in that you need to do more, that you need to keep busy, hustle mode. You know, that this hustler economy, the hustler, on Instagram, you see everyone doing this, doing that. I get it. And sometimes doing more doesn't mean not being busy. But if you do less, you can really polish the one thing, the 2 things, maybe 3 things that you're doing. There's a guy by the name of Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and he shares this idea that you should really only focus on 3 major pockets in your life. Everything else you need to put aside. 3 things at a time at the most. And the reason why you want to do this, and this is something that I've been doing most of my life, I usually pick one thing and obsess over it for years. Get really good at that one thing. And the reason why you want to do that is because you can dedicate so much more of your focus and concentration into that one thing. So if you're trying to work on self-improvement, if you're trying to build yourself up to be more confident, more masculine, focus just on that. Give yourself the gift of time, because it does take time, it does take effort, and really dig into that so you can fully embody it. If you're half-assing 10 different things, you're just gonna pick up little bits and pieces here and there. It's really not the way to go. So by doing less, you can focus more deeply on those less things. And that's really the key to changing yourself. That's why, for me, doing less is such an important pillar of my 3 pillars. When I do something, I narrow things down and I focus on one thing at a time. So the idea here is that you can't get rid of everything. There are going to be frivolous tasks that you need to do in your day-to-day, but for the most part, you don't want to be trying to do a million different things. You want to pick a couple things that you can really give your time and attention to. Once you do this, you'll begin to see more rapid growth, more rapid change. If you do that, paired with taking action, paired with being able to look at yourself from a third person perspective, you're going to really give yourself an advantage over other people who stay busy. They stay with the busy, frivolous work, whereas you are taking your time to dive into one thing deeply. And just imagine how much better you'll be at that one thing than all the other people who are trying to do that plus 10 other things. You'll give yourself an unfair advantage. It's a powerful, powerful thing. So these are my 3 pillars. Got questions? Drop them down below. Be happy to answer them. If you're not already, I invite you to subscribe. I drop videos every week. And if you're looking to get guidance, if you're struggling with something that you've been working on for years, I offer one-on-one coaching. You can click the link down below to find out more about that. All right, guys, that is it for this video. We will see you in the next one.